Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining me. I'm coming to you from the sunny Gold Coast of Australia. I am looking forward to taking a caller today and seeing what Spirit can do. If you haven't already registered through A1R Radio, Moonstruck TV, you should come online, come and have a chat with me. I'd love to talk to you in the coming weeks. So this week, our topic, as always, I'm always trying to share knowledge and teach. So this week's topic is going to be about divining. We're going to talk about dowsing, divining, different methods, how to do it really easily. Firstly, let's talk about how to do it safely, and that is to know who you are allowing to operate the device, whether it's a pendulum or you might even, well, we'll talk about how you can make your own pendulums, whether it's a pendulum or you are using a divining rod, such as this handy little instrument here, to get your answers. And I'll demonstrate that later in the show as well. Whatever you're using, you want to make sure that you know and give permission only to the beings that you want to give permission to use it, to influence it, to make it move. We don't want to be using these things like Ouija boards and leaving it open to all and sundry. And so we usually want to connect them to our own teams of guides and angels. Really simple to do and very effective. In fact, I was watching something recently. There's a woman on YouTube who has her own show doing nothing but connecting to a particular being, say Aphrodite or another type of being that's up there, and asking them the questions that people ask of her. So divining can be very, very effective, very accurate, and I'll talk you through and show you, for those who are viewing, those who are listening, I will talk you through and show you how to do this yourself. It's something that's been done for ages, for, well, hundreds, if not thousands of years. You've probably heard the old wives' tales of being able to put a needle and thread and hold it over the stomach of an expectant mother and be able to tell what the sex or the gender of the baby is. So it's happened for a long time. We'll talk about it later in the show. But right now, we're lucky to have Michelle from Fort Saskatchewan in Alberta, Canada, coming through to talk to us. Are you there, Michelle?
I am. Thank you for taking my call.
Oh, so good to talk to you. All right, so today, what can Spirit do for you? Are you interested in hearing about yourself, which is a psychic reading about your past, present, future, or are you interested in hearing from a loved one who's crossed over into Spirit?
I would love a psychic question, please.
Great. Okay, so you have a specific question?
I do. So I guess I'm just kind of curious what's coming up for love, possibly in 2024.
Yes. Okay. It's a really funny thing. They said to me, the very first thing that came through was 14 months from now. Okay, so 14 months. So if it was 12 months from now, we would be in September, October, November. So November 2025, what will be happening? Okay. Ooh, I don't know if you're ready to settle down with somebody, but they're saying an engagement in 14 months from now.
Oh, I get goosebumps everywhere. Wow.
Yeah. So it's okay. So let's go backwards about whether this person, I was actually going to be demonstrating divining today. So I'll just ask the question, yes, no question of Spirit. And it's just my spirit team that I work with regularly. And I'm going to ask them, does Michelle know this person already? And for the viewers, which way is yes, please? Okay, and which way is no? Okay, so left is yes, right is no. Does Michelle already know this person? No. Okay, so somebody new coming into your life. They're telling me that your past relationship had like some tragedy involved. Is that true?
Yeah, it was interesting. It could have been like a Dateline NBC episode.
Okay, because they say that it was borderline tragedy, um, and that it's taken some time to recover from that for you because I feel like it really rocked you. It really shook you.
Yeah, it's been over 10 years.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. Um, And they said, and it's a funny thing when they call it the recovery position. They said you were in the recovery position of protecting yourself for quite some time. And
Yeah.
in the last 3 years, you've been flirting with the idea of being open to love again. And they're saying you've had some, what they're calling near misses, meaning you've, you must have had some dates or, uh, spent time with getting to know a few people, but it didn't quite come together. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to ask them how this comes about. They just wanted to go backwards to make sure that we were connected to you properly before they start taking me into today and tomorrow. All right. So how is Michelle going to meet this person, Spirit? How will Michelle? Um, wow. I almost feel like I want to say the brother of a friend. It's somebody that you're
Oh,
going to meet very, very naturally, very casually, and they're immediately letting me know that this person has a very good sense of humor. They're not a fool.
oh,
They
good.
just like to have fun. They just enjoy approaching life with a bit of fun. And so the way that they showed themselves was like being on, like coming up behind somebody very closely and saying, like whispering in their ear from behind, just to, give them not a great fright, but just to be a little bit funny. And they're saying this person is warm, absolutely very, very warm. They're showing dark hair, but not super dark. I'm talking like a medium to light brown. Um,
Okay.
and I want to say stocky, but not big. So broad shoulders, solid build, but not big build. Um, and honestly, they say gives the best hugs. And
Oh, cool.
it, the yeah, the meeting. Okay, it's a little bit fancy because they show me you wearing a dress, a short dress, not a long dress, but like when I say short, I don't mean mini, like below the knee, beautiful flowing dress. But it's like it's for somebody's christening or it's like a family get together, but it's not your family, it's somebody else's. And they're saying it's coming up within 3 months. So
Ooh,
there will be some kind of affair that, people dress up a little bit for. It's not like over the top. And it's literally going to be like the brother of a friend or a brother of a friend of a friend.
very
Uh,
cool.
I'm trying to see if there's more that they can tell me about because the personality is beautiful, warm, genuine. Let's see, what can you tell me, Spirit, about their history and where they've been in life? I feel like they're in a pretty similar circumstance. I feel as though they married young, 22, 21, 22, and it was all over by about 29. And it was kind
Wow.
of that once burned, twice shy, that they've had a couple of,
Mm.
uh, I guess you'd say serious relationships, but they really are cautious. Um, they like people. They don't have any shortage of friends. So there's not any like desperation about them, if you know what I mean. They
Yeah.
love people, so it's not like they needed to like marry and settle down straight away. So they've enjoyed people, they've enjoyed dating, but they just haven't met the right one. They certainly have a good time. What about professionally? How have they done professionally? All right. So they're saying it's as though they're I want to say it's like a family business, but
Oh,
it feels like heating, air conditioning, something of that nature, where it's not just on the tools. It's not just somebody who's just a tradesman. There's the running of the operation. And so I feel like they've done fairly well for themselves, but they're not pretentious, and they're not just all about money and things. I feel like they're very much about people.
okay.
Um, all you need to do is be yourself. And I feel like this person's going to make you laugh. They are going to be, you know how somebody can be a little bit forward, but they're doing it out of fun and enjoyment. And I don't feel like they're going to come on strong and ask you out straight away. I feel like
Oh, okay.
they're going to mention to their sister or brother or whoever it is. It might be this friend's brother-in-law's brother, but they're going to mention that they thought that you were absolutely gorgeous and had a lovely personality. And so it's like another dinner or another barbecue or another something's going to be engineered, and at that point they'll get their courage to ask you out. So when you get this
Wow.
invitation, you may think twice about whether you want to go to this, whether it's a christening or it's oh, what could it possibly be? It's some sort of a family party, and they say, please don't think twice, just go. Just take the invitations that
Okay.
come over the coming months. They're saying that there's not a lot. I do feel like it's this one invitation that's going to be important, even if you think, "Ooh, I didn't think this. I would have thought this would have been a smaller occasion." Just go.
Yeah. Okay.
And then they said engagement
Thank
within
you.
14 months.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I'll take it. Thank you so much. That was awesome.
I feel like you raised a family already?
No, but I'm almost 50, so I'm kind of,
Because I was going
I
to
could be
say
a
it feels like
grandmother.
babies are behind you, is what they were saying. It was like you're not looking at starting a family, and that's perfect
Oh,
for
no.
both of you, because this person doesn't have any ideas about doing that. Now, I think you
Good.
might have a slight age difference, but it's going to be within
Okay.
like the 4 or 5 year mark, because I think they're a
Oh,
little
that's
bit
yeah.
younger than you. I get the number like 44, 45. But they're saying it
Okay.
won't feel like an age gap. It's just um, to be conscious. Don't write them off if they're just a few years younger, because they're literally perfect for you.
Wow. You just made my night. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. And please let me know how it plays out. I'd love it if you got back in touch or commented on one of our posts and let us know if they've shown up. Because, yeah, they're saying you need more fun in your life, that you're a really
I
genuine,
do.
caring person. You, you take life seriously and do it well, but you've got a lot of fun and a lot of life to live yet. And they said this is why you're going to end up magnetizing this person who you're going to have an absolute blast together.
Yay. Thank you. Oh, I'm just
You're so
smiling ear to
welcome.
ear. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your night, Michelle, and you take care.
You too. Many blessings to you. Thank you.
You too. Bye bye now.
Bye.
Forgive me, I had a little technical glitch there. I made a little mistake. Guess that's going to happen once in a while. Okay, so that was Michelle. And we are going to talk more about divining. And I'm very conscious that some of you are listening to this on radio, so I'm going to have to describe it fairly well. So, where it comes to divining, again, we want to ensure if we want to ask yes, no questions, and we want simple answers from spirit, that we say, this divining rod or dowsing rod or this pendulum or this needle connected to the thread, which is another way to make a simple pendulum, is only allowed to be moved by my angels or by my guides or by my spirit team. They're the only ones that can move. Now, many people wonder, how do you make a pendulum? And you can make it out of almost anything. The one that I'm holding has a bit of crystal at the end with a pointed end, and it is on a silver chain, but it can be made of ribbon. Again, it can be made of thread. Um, Goodness, some people use a little leather strap, a vinyl. It really doesn't matter. When I teach students, I often will get yarn and connect big buttons. And so I'll thread the yarn through a button so that there's a little bit of weight at the end of this. And then we just try to hold it still. And the best way to hold it still is to tuck your elbow in and then connect it to who you want to connect it to. Like me, I say only my spirit team can move this. Now, of course, I'm going to hold it up higher for the camera. And the first thing that we do if we're going to use it is we ask it and ask spirit which way is yes, please. And on mine, it's going in a clockwise circle. And then I say thank you. You can do the same thing with your spirit team. And then you say which way is no, please. And mine is going counterclockwise, but yours might go in completely different directions. That's why we ask. And then a question that a lot of people don't know to ask is, which way is maybe? And they're already doing the maybe for me, which for me is like a diagonal line. Now, why is maybe important if you're trying to divine or douse? Maybe is important because perhaps you're not asking the right question, or here's one that used to trip me up in my younger days. I would ask a compound question. So I would ask a question that had multiple parts, and they couldn't just answer me in a yes or a no. So, for example, if I was going to ask, will Sarah get the job in November at the XYZ company? That's three questions. And so they would give me a maybe to that three-part question, which would make me think and will help you to think, oh, am I asking more than one thing? Then I could break it down. Will Sarah get the job? Will the job that she gets allow her to get it or start in November? And will it be, then I'd ask another question for the XYZ company. So that's why maybe is important, because they sometimes are telling us, you could ask this a different way, or there's a better question to ask, or sometimes we're not supposed to know a thing. And if they say maybe and we ask it in several different ways, that's their way of saying, this is going to be a mystery that is up for Sarah to figure out and Sarah to learn, which occasionally happens with spirit. So another trick with the pendulum is that people often will hold their hand under it. So they're holding it from the top, and then they put their hand as like a stage or a platform for it. But what they don't understand is that they are affecting it with the energy, because we all have energy coming out of the palms of our hands. If you think of the healers, they use their hands to heal because that's where the energy flows out. And when we're divining using a pendulum, we don't really want ourselves to be giving the answers. We want spirit to be giving the answers. So by not holding our hand underneath, only holding it from above, we're letting spirit do their thing. So that's pendulums. You can make them out of anything as long as the weight isn't too heavy on the end, because of course, the heavier the weight, the more difficult it can be for spirit to move it. Many people will use their necklaces. They'll take their necklace off, and that's a great way to make a pendulum. If it's got a little bit of weight and it's got a chain or something, there you go. You've always got a pendulum on you. Now, what's a divining rod or a dowsing rod? For some people, it is simply a piece of steel that is long and has a short handle. It's just a bent piece of steel. And that's what I used to use myself. But I found these cool divining rods online, which look like a pen, and they actually come out. So they're long, and then they bend, so they have a handle. And so if you can imagine, for those listening on the radio, it's like an L, and I'm holding the short part of the L. And the other part is parallel with the ground. And I'm holding it, so I'm just trying to keep it straight. And again, you just assign it to your spirit team, only my guides and angels, or my spirit team, higher self, can use this. Please show me which way is yes. My team, can you please show me which way is yes? Can you give us a big yes? There we go. Okay, and back to the center, please. And which way is no? So for me, they've gone left for yes and right for no. Now, I can ask them anything, and if they know the answers, they will give it. Now, the maybe, on this one, I should be very clear that even on these divining rods, we need to have a maybe. So my team, which way is maybe? So maybe for them on the divining rod, they're not going to move it. That's my maybe. And I must say, I just finished a reading for a lovely lady, and we were trying to get an answer to something, and they wouldn't move it. So that was their way of saying, not going to get an answer to that question. So why is divining important? Because when we're first starting out, often we think, is it us? It's very common when we begin to consciously receive information from spirit, that we think it's us making it up. Well, if we're holding a divining rod, we can't move it. And if we're holding a pendulum and we've rested our arm on a desk, a table, a chair, we've tucked it in and we can't actually move our hand, then we can see quite clearly that spirit are giving us the answers. And sometimes we just need a little bit of information for ourselves or for a friend. And this is a very, very easy way to see that we are connected with spirit. Now, before any work, I still suggest that we do the 5 deep breaths, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And after you've done 5 of those, and believe me, it can be a little challenging because we can space out after that second or third one. After 5 of those deep breaths, we're right in the state that we want to be in to work. And at that point, we can call forward our guides and our angels and say from our heart. And when I say speak from the heart, it's a really interesting experience. It's as though the question is formed in the mind and it is dropped down into the body, and we send it out from our whole body, the question. So if we want our spirit team to join us, we would just say, please, my guides and angels, can you come closer now? And then you could say, I need a few questions answered. And if you can't hear them yet, if you can't see the answers yet, or you're not sure how to interpret what you're receiving, that's why divining or dowsing or using a pendulum is a really, really powerful way to begin to connect with spirit. Now, there are so many people these days teaching, and if you're really interested in these things, of course, you can find information on TikTok and on YouTube and on channels like this, on our podcasts. And there are also courses that you can take. Because if you're anything like me, I could read about it, I could watch it, and I could see it happening. But I needed to have that experience myself, and I needed to be walked through it step by step, because it was all happening for me, but I needed to learn the techniques to make it happen on cue, to make it happen when I wanted it to happen, and for it to be repeatable and almost what we call fail safe, time after time. So for me, I took some courses and I studied with a few mentors over time until I felt comfortable to step into the work. So if you do wish to study, You can always join me. I have courses that run usually 4 times a year. If you want a reading and you want to know more information, you can also join me. And I'll be giving you those addresses, web addresses, a little bit later on. So there's one more way to divine. Now, I'm going to show you simply because I cannot stand up on camera. You don't want to look at my belly button. Not that it's on show, but really, you wouldn't be able to see my face. So the last way is to use your body as the instrument that spirit can move. Now, I can do it seated, but you can do it standing, and you can say, my spirit team only of guides and angels, please use my body. Which way is yes? And if I've got my hips really relaxed, they push me forward, and that's my yes. And I'll ask them, spirit team, please show me which way is no. And they push me back, and which way is maybe. Today, they're pushing me to my left, which if you're viewing is to my right. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that even without an instrument, spirit can work with you, work with your body as the pendulum. Believe me, I've used that method before when I've been in a store and I couldn't decide whether I really was going to get use out of something. I knew I wanted it, but I thought, well, am I really going to use this? And I'd ask spirit, am I going to get good use out of this item? And they'd help me with my purchasing decisions. So here we go. I'm going to give you an idea of how you can work with me if you'd like to learn. You can find me at www.spiritquestschool.org. There are classes kicking off all the time, and if you don't see classes in your time zone, you can just use the Contact Me page, let me know, and I can always organize something. And if you would like a reading with me, a private reading, you can find me at www.deb.bullions, bullions.com.au. And I'll see you again next week. Thanks for joining me.